Hello everyone, welcome to another vlog. So in today's vlog, we'll discuss your time management strategy on the actual test. When you go in to take the GMAT, how should you allocate your time? How should you manage your time? When you go in to take your GMAT, one of the big problems you will face on test day is time management. I have seen a lot of students who had been performing very well in their practice test do very badly on the actual test day, partly because they could not manage the time. Because once your time management goes wrong on the actual test, it just keeps getting worse as the test progresses, and there's no way you will be able to get it back on track. Which is why it's very important that you have a sound time management strategy, and that you should have applied this strategy on your practice test so as to perfect it. What is that strategy? Before I go into the strategy, let me tell you what normally happens with students. So what normally happens is you start taking the test. You tend to generally spend a little more time on the initial questions because one does not want to get these questions wrong. Not that spending more time makes any difference if you ask me, but people do that. So you end up taking a little extra time, and eventually you reach a stage when you realize that you have around 10 or 15 minutes remaining, and you have around 10 or 15 questions also remaining. Happens a lot. Then you will end up rushing, you will end up guessing randomly, and you'll basically end up ruining your test. And this is an example of a situation in which the test took control of you. You were not in control, the test was in control. As I keep saying, that is something you must avoid, not just on the GMAT, but generally in life. You must always be in control, otherwise life will take control. And that won't always be a good thing. Anyway, coming back to the GMAT, the big problem, with that situation where you are left with 10 questions to attempt in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, the big problem is you will end up guessing on a lot of those questions. And when you guess in a row, you will most likely get most of those questions wrong, which means you're getting questions wrong in a row. And as you must be knowing, getting questions wrong in a row is a big problem on the GMAT because your score keeps falling, it never goes back up. So this is the situation with people who don't have a sound time management strategy or a test strategy, but this should not be the situation with you because you are watching this vlog. So what should you do? There is a simple rule that we've also spoken about in a lot of our books, which is what I call the 8-15 rule. All the 8-15 rule says is every 15 minutes you should have attempted 8 questions, or you should be on some multiple of 8. So when I look at the time after the first 15 minutes, I should have attempted 8 questions or thereabouts. When I look at my watch after 30 minutes, I should be around 16 questions. After 45 minutes, around 24 questions. So, and this applies to both your quant section and your verbal section. In verbal, you'll be 1 question behind because there are 41 questions. By this strategy, you only cover 40, but that's okay. That 1 question you will be able to make up. You don't need to account for it. But this is a simple rule to keep in mind. 8-15 rule, every 15 minutes, 8 questions. Because you see, the advantage of this rule is, then you won't have to wait till the end of the test or till the last 15-20 minutes to realize whether you are running short of time or whether you are going very fast. That also happens. I've also seen students who ended up finishing the test 10 minutes early. Had they not done so and had they spent a little more time on some question, they would have maybe got a few more questions correct. So that is not very common, but that also happens. So this 8-15 rule will help you take care of both those situations. Say I look at my watch after the first 15 minutes and I realize I'm on question number 5, which means I am behind time. I should have been on number 8, I am on number 5, which means sometime in the test I will have to guess on 3 questions. So then what I will do is I will not wait till the end of the test to guess on those questions. In the next lot of 8 questions, if I come across 1 or 2 topics which I don't like, which I generally find difficult or time consuming, I will guess on those questions. As long as your guessing is spread out through the test, it won't do much damage. When you end up guessing in a row, that becomes a problem. So using this strategy, you will be able to spread out your guessing in the test. Again, let's say after 30 minutes, I look at my watch and I realize that I am on question number 20. Then I'm going very fast because ideally I should have been on question number 16. then I know that I'm going very fast and I can slow down and take a little more time on some questions. Basically, by using this particular strategy, you will be able to optimize your time. I mean, you don't want to end up with a situation where you have no time left with questions remaining, or you have a lot of time left and no more questions to do. So this strategy will help you avoid these two situations. The biggest advantage when you work in this manner is you are in control of the test. You are deciding which questions to attempt, which questions to guess on. The test is not deciding it. And that makes a big difference, Being in control is very, very, very important on an adaptive test such as the GMAT. Let's say despite me giving you this rule and you liking the rule, on the test you forget everything and you do it the way you normally do, and you end up with a situation where you have 10 minutes and 10 questions to go. Then what do you do? So I'll tell you what to do, but make sure this doesn't happen on the test. This is the worst case scenario, right? So 10 questions remaining and 10 minutes remaining. What you would end up doing is you would end up taking 1 minute for each question. So you would spend a minute on each question. If you can get to the answer in 1 minute, you'll mark the answer. If you can't, you will randomly guess and move on. The problem with this strategy will be that at the end of the test, when you are in any case panicking because you realize that you have very little time, you will most likely not be able to get to any correct answer in 1 minute. What would have normally taken you a minute will now take you a minute and a half or 2 minutes. So most of those questions you are attempting would actually be incorrect. What you want to do is something which is actually the opposite. So you have 10 minutes and 10 questions remaining. First question, just guess. In 5 seconds, mark whatever you want as the answer. On the second question, take a minute and a half or 2 minutes. It will anyway become easier because the earlier one you must have got wrong. So spend a little more time, get it right. The third question, again guess. Fourth question, take 2 minutes. Fifth question, guess. Sixth question, take 2 minutes, and so on. So you see, what basically I'm telling you to do is to guess on alternate questions, not guess in a row. Because then what will happen is your score will not go down. It will go up, come down, go up, come down. It will pretty much stay where it was. So this is a smarter strategy, to guess on alternate questions. However, you should not have to use this strategy on the test because you will be using the 8-15 rule. So this eventuality should not arise. So guessing in a row is not a good idea, which is why you never want to skip an RC passage. By skip, I mean randomly guess. You can't skip anything on the GMAT unless it's at the end of the test. So by skipping, I mean you don't read the passage, you just mark something as the answer to each of the questions. Because then you will get 3-4 questions wrong in a row, and that will hurt your score. So never ever skip an RC passage. You can guess on 1 or 2 questions within a passage. That's fine. But don't skip an entire passage, or don't guess on an entire passage. The last thing, you will get 4 RC passages on the test. I'm sure most of you know that. Some people act surprised. You will always get 4 passages. No 3 passages, no 5 passages, always 4 passages. So as you take the test, keep a track of how many passages have you already got. Most likely you will get a passage between questions 32 to 40. So make sure you keep time for that particular passage. You have some time on hand. That must be part of your test taking strategy. However, keep a track of the passages. Sometimes they give you 2 passages back to back and all 4 passages will be done by the time you reach question number 30 or 32. Then you know that I won't be getting a passage in the end, and then you can take it a little easy if you want. So keep a track of how many passages are already over, and make sure you have time on hand for the last RC passage, which will most likely come in the last 8-9 questions of the test. These are very practical tips that I'm giving you, which I see students struggling with on test day when I debrief them. So which is why I'm sharing these things with you, because these are very, very practical things that you can actually apply, and that will give you an improvement in score and generally help you tackle the test better and much more confidently. So watch this video a couple of times and make sure you understood everything that I've said in this. Any questions? Please feel free to mail me. My email ID is below in the description. I shall see you guys tomorrow in a new vlog. Have a nice day.